All right, so say you have three girls against the bar, right? So 1, 2, 3. Now, if you approach that set, firstly, their back is to you. Okay, so when you start a conversation, they're going to have to be looking over their shoulder like this. All right, so essentially you're locked out of the set. Okay, now they still might interact with you and all that kind of thing, but you are a guy on the outside kind of hovering around these girls. Hey, what's up, guys? Dale Valor here for Modern Valor Dating. Today, we're going to be talking about the top 3 tips on locking into set. So that way, you're locked in, you're not going anywhere, they're not going anywhere, and you can make it happen, right? You can run your game effectively without anybody scurrying off. All right, so we're going to hop into tip number 1. Let's go. Tip number 1, the whole reason that you're even trying to lock into set is this. You want them to keep you around, all right? If they want your attention and they're into what you're doing and want to get to know you better, you want to lock in so is that you stay there, they're not going anywhere, and you're locked in. Because here's the thing, if you don't lock in, here's what could happen, especially in a bar situation or a club situation or something like that. Oh, my song is on. Let's go dance. Or let's all go to the bathroom. Or I'm thirsty. I want a drink. Let's go get a drink. Any number of those reasons is reason enough for you to get blown out of set. All right, so that's why you want to lock in. So we're going to get into a couple of tactics here. Let's hop into tip number 2. Let's go. Tip number 2. All right, so say you're in set, okay? Here's one of the ways that you can start locking in. I act as if I'm about to leave. So say there's a table and it's a 3 set in front of me. I act as if I'm about to go, but I'm not really trying to go, but they think I'm trying to go. So that way, in their mind, they're not like, okay, this guy's not going to stand around here and bother us all night. So I act as if I'm about to dip. I pivot around, and I say to them, hey, out of curiosity, before I get going, how do you guys all know each other? Like, oh, we're all friends from work, or, you know, this is a bride, or not a bridal shower, but a bachelorette party, or whatever the case might be. Maybe they're all family. Now I have intel to work with, all right? Because say if my target is married, you know, and I don't know that, all right? And I'm not the kind of guy, I don't advocate going after married women. I'll just throw that out there. But if I don't know that she's married, that's one way that I'm going to find out. Because what if the girl sitting next to her is like, oh, this is my sister-in-law. She's married to my brother. Now I know, right? So now I know not to proceed with her as my target if I'm going to stay in that set. But say they're all work friends, and I find out they're all single. Okay, now it's on, right? So I'm just getting that intel so as that I can now start getting where I can start really working the set. The other thing is, this is how you're really locking in. They're giving me conversational threads to play off of. So they're saying, oh, we're all friends from work. You know, we work over at Quicken Loans. Oh, great. You know what? I know a bunch of people over at Quicken Loans. So, you know, what department do you work in? Are you a lender? You know, that kind of thing. And we can start to build a little commonality, that type of thing. Or, you know, I could ask them, you know, if they're like, no, I work actually in a different division. What division do you work in? Oh, I work in this. Oh, okay, cool. And we can keep the conversation rolling. And now I'm really locked in the set, okay? But I got one really, really good way of locking in the set. And we're going to get in that in tip number 3. Let's go. Tip number 3 with locking into set. All right, this is what I have heard called the throne position. All right, Mystery breaks this down. I've heard him talk about it a couple of times, and I have found that it works very, very, very effectively. All right, so here's how it works. All right, so say you have 3 girls against the bar, right? So 1, 2, 3. Now, if you approach that set, firstly, their back is to you. Okay, so when you start a conversation, they're going to have to be looking over their shoulder like this. All right. So essentially you're locked out of the set. Okay. Now they still might interact with you and all that kind of thing, but you are a guy on the outside kind of hovering around these girls. All right. So what you want to do is, now this could be again at a bar, it could be at a table, it could be at any number of circumstances. You want to be in the middle of that set, and that would be the throne position. So what you do is you have one of them stand up, preferably the middle one, spin her around, and you take her seat and say something to the effect of, I do got to get going, but I've been on my feet all day. I have to sit down. All right, now here's the thing. This is the great part about this. A, you're locked into that set now. You have girl here, and then the girl that you took her seat. They're surrounding you now. All right, so now you're locked in, okay? And now you can continue to run your game effectively. The other good thing is, should you choose to leave that set, or if you get blown out, to the rest of the room, it looks good for social proof. Why? Because everybody else sees that you're in the middle of all these attractive girls, and it looks like they're gaming you. It doesn't look like you're standing on the outside talking to these girls where you're just like the club player that goes around kicking it with the girls. It looks like they came up to you, to anybody that's just observing. All right. So that's why it's good for social proof. All right. So that is the top 3 reasons for locking into set. All right. I'm Dale Valor from Modern Valor Dating. If you got value out of this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and share it with somebody that you think needs to see it. And we'll see you in the next video. Salute.